Junior Naturalists. Today we have a very special guest. Katie George is a local artist who specializes in nature, and she's going to be talking to us about nature journaling, especially drawing birds.
When did you first start doing art?
I remember painting when I was in third grade, and I would paint whatever I could find, frogs and birds, trees, horses. I did a lot of drawing horses.
So, what do you think inspired you to start painting?
I think just being outside a lot and growing up around here, nature walks. I loved animals, and I just loved expressing how much I love them through drawing them. So that's really what started it.
So, would you say that you're a naturalist?
I think so. Yeah, I like just drawing a lot of creative inspiration from the natural world, and yeah, it's very inspiring.
What is your favorite thing to draw or paint?
Currently, it's whales. I love the ocean, and I've always loved whales, and they're just beautiful animals, and they're really fun to draw and paint. I also do a lot of wood burning, so they're just a subject that I really like.
So, what do you think it's important for us to remember as naturalists when we're first starting out drawing things from nature?
I think just breaking down whatever you're looking at into smaller parts, so you can step outside your door and there's so much to see, and it can kind of be overwhelming. But if you walk over to the garden and like look at a flower, for instance, just start sketching what you see and focusing on the flower, and then just start bit by bit, and then just work from there.
Great. Well, what are we going to be drawing today, Katie?
Today we're going to be doing a drawing of a blue heron. You see them a lot, I bet, around here. They're one of my favorite birds. I love watching them in the bay. So yeah, that's what I'm going to be drawing today.
Great. Well, I'm going to come over and show Katie's materials so we can get started. So she just has some blank paper, but you could use any paper that you have in your house.
Yeah.
And a Sharpie, a marker, and a pencil.
A pencil is what I start all my drawings out with. And then I really like these kinds of pens, but really any kind of pen will do.
All right, so how will we get started? So it's important to have a subject. So when we're out in the field, we can be using things that you actually see. So you can draw a bird or an animal or a plant or a flower. But Katie's going to be drawing today from a picture.
Usually I start by seeing how it's going to fit on my paper. So I don't want it this way because I want it to match more of this setting, and I want to make sure I get the full bird in there. So I usually start on any animal. I'll start on the head. So I just kind of lightly sketch where I think things go, and they don't have to be perfect at this point.
I noticed that you're using short strokes instead of long strokes. Why is that?
I think the short strokes they allow me to move my pencil but also move my eye to the drawing. So if I did longer strokes, I'd be at a different part of the bird, but I'm focusing in on the top of the head right now and the neck. And so it kind of gives me a wiggle room too to see that there is like a stroke here and there, but then when I come back with my pen, matching it how I think it will fit better with the surrounding drawing, it just gives me more room and space to see like what line I like best. And that's kind of like why I put in multiple ones too, because usually I won't get the size of everything on my first try. And that's another thing. So if you start sketching and your head is huge and then you realize that, it's okay. That's why we start in pencil. You can just erase it and then start over. Or if you really like the head and that's what you want to draw and focus the visual, you want to draw the eye to the head, then that's perfectly fine. Like this one might actually end up being more about the neck and then like the very beginnings of the heron's body. And also what I like to do with drawings of animals in particular is find like an area that I really like of the animal. And so I'll do some detail with the whole body, but then for instance, I really like the feathers that are lower on the neck and the feathers that are on the head. So I'm going to take extra care there to put in some details because that's what I find really beautiful about this bird. And so I want whoever's looking at this to also find that striking.
So feathers have to be a tricky thing to draw. What sort of suggestions do you have for making sure that they look right?
Yeah, so feathers are hard because they're so soft. So I recommend if you have a sketch pad, just flipping over to the next page and like drawing feathers like how you see them, and then also like feathers how you think that like they might be just based off how you remember them. And then also what helps is putting in multiple ones because that's how they're going to be on the bird.
So if you're looking for a great blue heron, a good place to go might be down to the Riverwalk or to a pond or a lake, right, Katie?
Oh yeah, the Riverwalk has a lot of them. Over, if you cross the Warrenton Bridge, that dike area, there's plenty out there. I usually always see one out there. Or Swenson Island is also a great place to watch for blue herons or really any kind of bird out there. You see a lot of them.
And a blue heron might be a good bird to start your sketching with because as long as you are quiet and patient, they may stay for a while.
Yeah. And you can also, if they do fly, you could try taking some pictures and then drawing them later. But yeah, they like to just wade out in the water, and sometimes you just miss them entirely because they just kind of look like they're fake. Almost.
They're just standing still.
Yeah. So then after I'm done doing the lighter sketch, I like to come in with some of these pens.
So if you're at home and you don't happen to have the same materials as Katie, you can use a colored pencil or a Sharpie or even just a ballpoint pen to darken in the lines that you think are the best ones from your pencil sketch. So notice that Katie is still using some short lines and then some longer lines so that she can make those, the drawing appear more realistic, with the feathers especially.
Yeah, the combination of the lines give it more movement, and so I think it mimics the bird's natural look and what they would be doing out in the world.
Which is really the goal of our drawings. When you take your journal with you out into nature, you can use it to record what you see and then be thinking about questions, things that you're wondering and that you want to learn more about once you get home.
And so what I like to do when I'm shading with these ink drawings is I like to do something that's called cross-hatching. So you use strokes like this, and then you come back and then you cross over. So it gives you a way to shade that isn't just like, going around in circles. Yeah, so it kind of gives it more of a natural look. So you can follow the shape of whatever you're doing with those strokes and then come back and then follow around the other way. And then you can darken in closer to the edge for more of a contrast. So I've been enjoying doing those kind of strokes.
Well, this is a great way that you can start journaling with birds or plants when you're out in nature. Now, Katie, when you got home from your nature walk, would you use any colors to accent your piece?
I think that color is really fun. What I would do usually is look at the bird. There's some nice, even blues in there. And then there's this nice kind of rust color. And then the eye is pretty sharp and yellow. So I would use those colors in the bird and then also in the background.
So, naturalists, you could record those colors that you see on your drawing or maybe on a scrap piece of paper so that when you get home you remember what colors that bird was or what colors that plant was that you saw out in nature.
That's another point, Emily, that if you write down the colors, maybe you don't know what the bird is, and that will help you identify it later.
Well, thank you so much, Katie, for helping us to learn a little bit more about nature journaling.
Bye, guys.